According to C.S. Lewis, friendship is unnecessary. Like philosophy, like art, it has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival. When Samuel told Saul that God had rejected him, he described the new king God has chosen as a man after God's own heart. This description symbolizes the essence of the man David. He not only became king from a place of rejection and abandonment, but God used him in many ways to typify the Messiah. After he was anointed by Samuel as king, his reign didn't start. Rather, his troubles increased. God's spirit departed from Saul, which threw him into depression. David, the sweet singer of Israel, was brought to Saul. And whenever he played the harp, the evil spirits would depart from Saul. What most people don't realize is that he didn't just play the harp. He played the powerful tunes and songs of worship. He sang to God as an outcast in the meadows. God, who inhabits the praises of his people, will descend and the evil spirits will beat a retreat from Saul. After David kills Goliath and the people of Israel sing his praises, Saul is forced to ask, who is he? He obviously knows who he is, so his real question is, who is his source? Is he the king God has chosen to replace me? Saul begins to hate David, but David finds a true friend in Jonathan, Saul's heir. This improbable friendship between the two is one of the best cases of a destiny helper in the history of mankind. Jonathan, the prince who stood to inherit the kingdom from his father, saw God walking through David and immediately fell in love with David. Remember that Jonathan and his father Saul were the warriors of Israel, and prior to this, Jonathan and his armor-bearer alone killed 20 Philistines, after which God caused a panic resulting in the Philistine army melting away in all directions, allowing Saul and his men to defeat them. So Jonathan was a worthy successor by all standards of men, but he recognizes the role of God in the affairs of man and enters into a covenant with David that cements their friendship. As soon as David returned from killing the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul, with David still holding the Philistine's head. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. David goes on the run from Saul, and Jonathan gives his all, even risking his life, when Saul threw a spear at him, all to protect his friend. David has the opportunity to kill Saul, but he knows better than to touch him, who the Lord had anointed. Saul and Jonathan are killed in battle, and David is heartbroken. David is not just heartbroken over the death of his best friend, but over the death of his oppressor, Saul, who had done all to kill him. Listen to David's reaction upon hearing of the demise of Saul and Jonathan. Then David took hold on his clothes and rent them, and likewise all the men that were with him. And they mourned and wept and fasted until even for Saul and for Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord and for the house of Israel, because they were fallen by the sword. What a guy. His elegy to both his friend and foe not only melts the heart, but leaves you weeping that the world is not full of men like David. Hear him. The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Askelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor fields of orphans. For there the shield of the mighty is vilely cast away, the shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet, with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? Jonathan was survived by a 5-year-old son named Mephibosheth, who fell from his nurse's arm and became lame. Years later, when the boy was grown up, David brought him to the court, and for the sake of Jonathan's memory, restored him to the lands of his grandfather Saul. The friendship of Jonathan and David typifies the friendship we have from Christ, who gave up his crown to be man for a season to save us. This is what Jonathan did selflessly. How many people would give up on an opportunity to be king? Most would have lured David into a trap so that Saul could kill him. But Jonathan knew that David was the best man to run the last lap of the relay. There are people who sit and die on opportunities that they can't do anything with, rather than allow their friends access. They will never promote or encourage others. Jonathan encouraged David in God. Please, and please, end all friendships that do nothing for you. End friendships that don't promote or protect you. End friendships that don't sacrifice for you. End friendships that don't encourage you in God. Terminate any form of friendship that confers no advantage on your destiny. Many a destiny has been truncated by bad friendships. Yehoshua is the true model of friendship. He gave and he continues to give. Accept his friendship. God bless you all.